Last Saturday, the 17th. Last Saturday was a bad day. I got up at 7 as per, down to Morrison's to avoid the crowds. Still had to queue a bit though. Do you know, sometimes I wonder if the crowds are really that bad, later in the day. Maybe I should go then. I was stood opposite the missing poster. Been there years. Lee, age 6. Been missing 30 years. At least that's how long it says on the poster. It's 37 now. Long time. And I was a long time queuing and all. 20 minutes, and I only wanted some bacon and tea bags. When I got home, I went back to bed. Tired. Slept till 10 or 11, I'm not sure. I got up and had some breakfast. Bacon sandwich. Was good. Set me up. After that, I'm in the garden at the back. A woman's voice somewhere. Lovely day to be in the garden. I didn't answer. I was sat in one of the old deck chairs looking up at the sky. Had my sunglasses on though. Can't be too careful with my eyesight, even if the virus will get me first. So I'm sat there when all of a sudden there's this blur. Something blurred went up in the sky above the fence, and then it went down again. I took off my glasses and I waited, and it happened again. It was a child, a little boy about 3. He went up and his hair went up and his arms went up, and then he was gone. A red sweater he was wearing, red against the blue, and his hair all spiked like a teasel. He kept popping up and I kept smiling at him. Someone was throwing him, of course, as you do. He was laughing, and whoever was throwing him was laughing. And then one time, as he turned, he saw me, watching him. He smiled, and I smiled. And that was the last time he stopped popping up. A little later I heard a door go, so I guess they'd taken him inside. They moved in about 7 weeks ago, next door. I'd not seen much of 'em since. Could hear 'em though, through the wall at night. They seem nice. He don't shout much, and she don't either, and even the baby don't make that much noise. All in all, good neighbours. And what with the baby jumping about and all, Saturday turned into quite a good day. That was last Saturday. Sunday was the same, another sunny day, and sure enough, after I'd been in the garden about an hour, I heard a voice. Well, a noise really. I looked up at the fence, and there was the baby, peeping over the fence with his little hands. I said, "Hello," and he said something back. I asked him how he was, and he said something, and then he disappeared. When he popped up, his voice, well, it wasn't his voice, obviously, said he was fine, and wasn't it a lovely day? I said it was, and then I asked him his name. He said it was Tom. I said, "That's my name." He smiled, and then I picked one of my roses and I cut off all the thorns and I gave it to him. "That's for your mum," I said. You tell her there's plenty more where that came from." He smiled and thanked me, and then he disappeared. I didn't see him again that day. Monday was a rainy day. I didn't go out. I don't think they did either next door. The house was quiet. Tuesday morning there was a knock on the door. I could see it was a young woman through the glass, very pretty. When I opened up, she was back by the gate, and there was an envelope on the mat. "Mr. Quinnell," she said. I nodded, smiling. "Tom Quinnell." She paused and smiled. "That's for you," pointing at the envelope. "Come to us by mistake. Looks like a bill." I smiled and I told her she should have kept it. "I'm Mandy," she pointed. "From next door," she said, "number 31. Me and my husband and well, you've met little Tom." She thanked me for the rose, and we talked about what a nice neighbourhood it was, and I asked her where they'd come from, but it wasn't a place that I'd heard of. "Have you lived in this house long, Mr. Quinnell?" I told her I used to live in Yarmouth. And didn't we laugh when we realised that I'd lived in this house since before she was born. In the afternoon I was back in the garden, and Tom appeared over the fence. I gave him another rose, and he gave me a stick. Wednesday was a rainy day, and Thursday too. Rained all day. Then it's today, and all day I've been thinking about tomorrow. The crowds and queuing at Morrison's and the poster. Then about 6 the doorbell goes. I go out and answer it, and it's Mandy, and she's got Tom. He waves at me, and she asks me if I need anything, and I say I don't, because I'm going to Morrison's tomorrow. And then she says she's got a surprise. Well, I nearly say I don't like surprises, but I didn't. I smiled instead, and she asked me to close my eyes. So I did. Mandy gets Tom to count to 10. Well, more or less. And then she asked me to open my eyes. And when I opened them, there was nothing to see. Just Mandy and Tom and a man. Tom's dad. And don't he look a lot like his son? It was strange because nobody said anything. The birds were singing and the sun was shining and everything was very still. Then Mandy says, "Today is the best day ever." And then turned to her husband, crying. Says, "Tell him, Lee. Tell him who you really are." And he smiled. Smile. He didn't have to tell me who he was. After 37 years, I knew. That'll be them now.